Welcome back, my beautiful humans, to another episode of If I Die Tomorrow. This one, I'm titling it. Yeah, I'm giving it a title. Holy crap. I don't know what's going on with me. The Gift of Being Unwitnessed. Yeah, why out of everything am I giving it a title now, right? Well, because, I don't know. I'm different. I'm weird. I felt it was time, I guess. But again, I'm Nicole, and welcome back to If I Die Tomorrow. In our last episode, we talked about how deeply we all long to be witnessed. How beautiful it is to have someone who holds the key to our private dialects, understands our story without having to explain it again. Just like if you were at the doctor's office and you have to tell them when you make the appointment, then you have to tell the nurse when she talks to you, and then you have to tell the doctor again, even though you already filled it out on the paperwork, but somehow you still need to keep saying it. Which kind of gets frustrating, but anyway. What happens when the witness is gone? Or what happens when you find yourself in a season of life where you feel entirely unwitnessed by the world around you? And I will tell you, so I don't know about you, but if I get frustrated enough, I cry. I don't throw things. I don't, break things, even though, that there's something there. I'll tell you that. But I get frustrated and I cry. And I will actually give you an example. There was one time I had a doctor's appointment. I went there. I checked in. I sat down. And I waited. And I waited. And I had been waiting almost an hour. And by that time, my frustration had reached its peak. And I knew as soon as I opened my mouth, I was going to cry. Because I was so frustrated. Because I'd been sitting there and I had been watching people come and go. And I started watching the staff leave. And wondered why I hadn't been called in. And then when I finally, because I don't want to be the pain person, I've been sitting here and I haven't done anybody. I don't like being like that, but sometimes you got to speak up for yourself. Anyway, I went up there. I knew I was going to cry because I was frustrated, because I felt forgotten. I felt like my time meant nothing. See, there was a point to the whole story. I didn't just ramble for nothing. Okay. But anyway, I'm going to tell you, maybe you're, now that I've given you one of my examples, it could be for you that you're working on a project and the quiet hours of the night, no one ever sees that. Or maybe you're navigating deep, heavy emotional grief that you don't have the words to describe to your friends or your family. Because you don't have the words. You feel it, but you just don't have the words. And, okay, let's take a drink here. I gotta stop. Okay. Or maybe you're just doing the invisible, thankless work of keeping your family, your community, or your professional space running smoothly without an ounce of recognition. We've all felt it. We've all been frustrated by it. We've all been disappointed in it. We've all become angry over it. It's that unappreciation, that thanklessness. But you wouldn't not do it. But I will tell you, it can feel lonely. It can feel like your life is echoing in an empty room. But today, I want to share a truth that has actually brought me comfort in some of my quietest moments. Some of the most sacred work of our lives is meant to be completely unwitnessed. We live in a world that operates on visibility. If it wasn't recorded, it didn't happen. I'm going to tell you, in one of the roles that I have, that was actually something that was, if it wasn't documented, it didn't happen for a lot of reasons, but it is important. If it wasn't recognized, does it not have value? Of course, it still has value, even if somebody didn't recognize it. But that's where part of the disconnect is. We run ourselves ragged, trying to make sure that our contributions are visible to everyone. But you know what? You still don't even give it to yourself, the recognition. So don't go being all mad at everybody else because you don't do it yourself. You don't give to yourself. Hear me out. Let's take a look at nature. The most complete and critical structure of any living thing is completely hidden. And I say that because, like the roots of a tree, they are strong and they are solid and they make something beautiful. But you don't see those roots. And they don't ask for any applause. They don't need a crowd to validate the work that they are doing below the soil. They just do the quiet, unglamorous work of grounding the tree so that it can withstand the storm. Your character, your integrity, and your soul are built in the exact same way. Who are you when the microphone is turned off? What choices do you make when absolutely no one is watching? And there is absolutely zero chance of any kind of reward, compliment, or a simple thank you. See, that's where true legacy lives. It doesn't live in the public performance. It lives in the quiet, private choices. This is a space where so many of us meet, even if we never talk about it. Think of the person caring for an aging patient in the middle of the night when the rest of the world is asleep. Think of the creator struggling through the early messy drafts of their work, feeling completely untalented and alone. Think of anyone who has ever made the hard, painful choice to do the right thing legally, professionally, or personally, even when it meant they had to stand entirely by themselves. If you are ever feeling unwitnessed, I want you to take a deep breath. The lack of an audience does not diminish the value of your existence. Please know that. The fact that nobody saw you extend grace to yourself or someone else today doesn't mean that grace didn't matter. It transformed the room you were in, even if the only two people who knew it were you and the other person. And even if you're in a room by yourself, are you really truly ever alone? Here's a perspective shift I want to give you for those moments when the silence feels a bit too heavy. Okay. Our worth is never determined by the size of the crowd that sees us. It is by the depth of the peace we keep within the rooms we stand alone in. We have to be okay with being a work in progress in the dark. We have to build an inner sanctuary that doesn't depend on external validation to know that our efforts are enough. You are enough. If I die tomorrow, I know that I've spent my energy building something deep and real, not just something loud. If you're going and you're doing invisible work today, if you're holding up a structure for others, if you're healing a quiet wound, or if you're simply choosing to stay kind in a world that feels harsh, please know that your work is not lost. It is being recorded in the very texture of who you are. You don't need to be loud to be significant. You just need to be true. Trust the hidden growth. It will help keep you upright in a storm. As always, be kind, be grateful, stay humble.